It began with a single equation scribbled on the back of a lab notebook, a fragment of brilliance that would alter the course of history, hidden behind layers of quantum equations that scientists once believed impossible to solve. The key to time traversal emerged in the early 23rd century. A team of theoretical physicists, working under pressure from an increasingly precarious global situation, finally managed to stabilize a field they dubbed the chronosphere. These researchers were driven by a single goal: to safeguard humanity from the devastating catastrophes that had threatened to unravel civilization. The chronosphere was more than a machine. It was a shimmering gateway woven from swirling light, quanta of gravimetric manipulation, and raw possibility. Early attempts to send inanimate objects through resulted in partial success. An old watch would appear seconds or even minutes before it officially arrived. Yet the breakthrough was overshadowed by the magnitude of what lay ahead. How could anyone ensure that traveling back in time to stop a disaster wouldn't create an even larger rift in history? Historically, many had fantasized about traveling through time, but the actual prospect unsettled even the bravest souls. Philosophers debated the morality of rewriting events. Ethicists warned of cosmic repercussions if small alterations cascaded into world-tilting changes. Still, the authorities could not resist exploring a technology that might offer a lifeline against future catastrophes. As a result, the Chrononaut Initiative was formed. Coders, historians, psychologists, and specially trained soldiers were united under one secret directive: to enter the timeline at critical moments and avert devastation. But these missions were not about convenience or curiosity. They were dire undertakings cloaked in secrecy, placed in the care of individuals equipped with the mental fortitude to witness horrors, reverse them, and return to a world none would notice had changed. The first confirmed success occurred during a mission known only by its code name, Project Aegis. In the year 2239, an experimental fusion reactor meltdown in Berlin had left Europe's largest energy grid in ruins, plunging half the continent into darkness and igniting widespread panic. By harnessing the chronosphere's capabilities, a small team of chrononauts ventured moments before the meltdown. They introduced a subtle fix, replacing a single faulty valve, and returned to find that no meltdown had ever occurred. To the rest of humanity, it was as if it had never happened. Only the Chrononauts and a select group of supervisors retained the memories of the original timeline. The triumph, however, proved complicated. They had saved millions of lives, yet in private briefings, the team reported inexplicable echo phenomena, glimpses of an alternate version of Berlin, deserted as if half destroyed. It was a fleeting vision, but it sowed seeds of anxiety. Time, they realized, was not a passive entity to be bent without consequence. Despite the silent gravitas of their work, the Chrononaut Initiative pressed on, fine-tuning missions to correct large-scale catastrophes. Floods, pandemics, and wars were all surreptitiously intercepted in their nascent stages. This clandestine group worked like cosmic caretakers, moving between pivotal junctures of humanity's timeline. They prevented further devastation, but each success brought them face to face with distortions. People remembered small details that did not match reality, or they would have dreams of events that should never have existed. This phenomenon was labeled time bleed, a psychological residue affecting chrononauts and, occasionally, those in close proximity to them. Therapists, neuroscientists, and quantum researchers assembled to evaluate the mental toll on those who tampered with the flow of history. Traces of parallel existences haunted the chrononauts' subconscious, like half-erased pencil sketches lingering on a page. Amid these growing concerns, Naira Hawthorne emerged as one of the most accomplished chrononauts. Known as fierce, precise, and unwavering, she had guided more missions than any of her counterparts. She carried a steely resolve, shaped by the memory of losing her entire hometown to a superstorm decades ago. Though the Chrononaut Initiative had not existed in time to save her family, Naira had vowed that no one else should ever have to grieve so painfully. She formed the moral core of her cohorts, reminding them why their secret work mattered. With each journey, she instilled caution and compassion, ensuring they never replaced one tragedy with another. Service to humanity was her North Star, yet even Nira was not immune to the creeping sense of dissonance that followed each mission's end. Such distortions only intensified when telemetry began registering so-called temporal anomaly spikes. The chronosphere's sensors picked up odd fluctuations around significant historical events, from the precise day a lethal virus was identified in Singapore, to the morning a tectonic shift threatened the western coast of the United States. It appeared as if someone or something else was manipulating the timeline. Initial speculation suggested a rival nation-state had stolen chronotechnology. Subsequent intelligence pointed to a rogue element within the initiative itself. Determined to uncover the source, Nira and senior chrononaut Timothy Zhu ventured to the earliest recorded anomaly site, a minor diplomatic summit that had originally resulted in a peaceful alliance, but was suspect in the revised timeline of turning disastrously hostile. They arrived in late 2222, concealed in local attire, and quickly discovered evidence that another chrononaut had intervened for personal gain. That rogue chrononaut was Kerrigan K., a brilliant but hot-headed scientist once lauded as the mind behind the chronosphere's validated math. After losing his research funding, he had grown bitter, convinced that those in power were squandering time travel for mere disaster prevention while ignoring the bigger possibilities. Kerrigan believed time was a playground of infinite potential, a stage where the cunning could ascend to ultimate influence. He manipulated events to enrich himself, forging alliances that made him indispensable in the new timeline. When Nira and Zhu confronted him, he revealed a tumultuous plan. He intended to reshape history to replace the existing world order with one he believed more deserving of the technology's gifts. His new timeline favored those with vision and ambition, and he refused to be constrained by the moralistic approach of the initiative. The confrontation turned violent, forcing Nira to flee back to the chronosphere, with Zhu gravely injured by Kerrigan's sabotage. Faced with this betrayal, the initiative realized that time travel was more fragile than they had ever suspected. A single act in the past could reshape civilization. Their entire mission required a new framework. They established the Chrono Council, a group of eminent ethicists, historians, and senior chrononauts tasked with reviewing every proposed mission, discerning whether each intervention was truly necessary or if it would engender paradoxical horrors. The Council's first priority was stopping Kerrigan, but the threat extended beyond one man. The Council suspected that others, especially those with black market resources, might also attempt to control the timeline. Tensions rose, culminating in the Council ordering a lockdown. No more missions, except those dedicated to capturing Kerrigan and preventing further distortions. The final confrontation occurred at a pivotal moment in humanity's early interplanetary expansion. History recorded that mankind first established a permanent lunar colony in 2245, signing a historic intergovernmental accord ensuring all nations shared scientific data. Kerrigan, however, targeted this event to fracture humanity's alliances so he could ultimately profit from the chaos. Nira and Zhu, along with a reassembled team of chrononauts, leapt into that time juncture, disguised as negotiators. Their plan was clever. By ensuring the signatories trusted one another in the conference rooms, Kerrigan's sabotage would have no foothold. But within the newly constructed lunar dome, the rogue chrononaut orchestrated a sophisticated infiltration. He stoked rumors of betrayal, generating mistrust among delegates who were already under stress from an oxygen leak scare. At the same time, his associates tampered with life support systems to create a genuine crisis. The timeline teetered at a knife's edge as alarms echoed through the lunar corridors. Nira cornered Kerrigan in the environment control room. He was splicing wires into an ancient contraption. A backup generator twisted to overload dangerously. Her pleas for him to reconsider fell on deaf ears. Kerrigan was consumed by contempt. In his eyes, the initiative was too timid, coddling a humanity unworthy of shaping its own future. Sparks ignited as the rig generator threatened to detonate. In the swirling confusion, the two Chrononauts wrestled for control. Ultimately, Naira made a desperate choice. She risked severing the generator's main power line herself, unleashing a small feedback explosion that slammed her and Kerrigan across the chamber. The sabotage was averted, but the catastrophic timeline shift was only partially undone. Kerrigan, critically wounded, vanished into a swirling shimmer, escaping deeper into the timeline, his final whereabouts unknown. Although the mission was deemed a qualified success, the close call rattled the entire Chrononaut initiative. Their ability to prevent catastrophes was matched only by the destructive possibilities of rogue operatives. In the weeks following, the Council refined protocols limiting access to the chronosphere. They developed advanced recognition algorithms that could detect multiple versions of the same person in the timeline. Naira, never one to rest, proposed the creation of smaller, more agile squads, each specialized in a specific threat scenario. These changes did not and could not entirely eradicate the risk, but they offered stronger safeguards against the timeline's misuse. Publicly, the world continued as it always had. Most people never suspected that their day-to-day reality was shaped by clandestine travelers preserving fragile historical threads. Still, the greatest obstacle proved less tangible than any single villain. Time itself remained a mysterious force. Observers started noting deeper anomalies, lost moments, strange coincidences, glimpses of tragedies that never transpired but still pulled at the edges of memory. The intangible weight of revised histories pressed upon the Chrononauts, leaving them uncertain about the future they preserved. Naira often found herself asking if the initiative was forging a better world or simply breeding new complexities. Each mission demanded intense introspection, as every choice preventing a disaster to letting it occur left echoes in the chronosphere's shimmering veil. In the aftermath, the Chrono Council decided to scale back interventions, prioritizing fewer but absolutely critical missions. They concluded that allowing fate to weave its tapestry unassisted was oftentimes healthier for the resilience of human civilization. Yet, they refused to dismantle the chronosphere. Hope, tinged with caution, guided them. Perhaps with enough wisdom, they could ensure that the mistakes leading to annihilation were gently corrected before they spiraled out of control. The Chrononauts continued to wear heavy responsibilities on their shoulders: guardians, healers, occasional meddlers in the continuum. Their presence shaped an unknowing world, quietly weaving a reality in which those tragedies may never come to pass. Across time, subtle adjustments persisted. A plague that once threatened billions was thwarted by a single immunologist who received unusual funding at a critical moment. War was averted when an early arms deal mysteriously fell through, never delivering advanced weaponry to a volatile regime. While these acts seemed small, they were a testament to a principle that guided Naira and her teammates. Humanity deserved the chance to grow without being crippled by cataclysmic events. The Chrononauts did not seek to perfect the species nor flourish in personal gain. Instead, they intended to give humankind a fair shot at progress. But like any who dabble in forces beyond their full comprehension, they remained humble, knowing that, at times, the tapestry of history demanded both heartbreak and triumph to propel society forward. And so they continued, stepping into the chronosphere one mission at a time, uncertain if they would encounter still lurking anomalies or face the return of Kerrigan K. In the swirling luminescence, they carried the weight of every past tragedy and the promise of every. Cloaked in secrecy, guided by moral codes, they moved through centuries and seconds alike, guardians of an ever-shifting fate. In that quantum dance, they had found purpose. They had become the unseen sentinels of humanity's timeline, watchful, daring, and above all else, steadfast in their resolve to preserve a world that would never fully understand just how close it had come to annihilation. In the silent light of the chronosphere, they braced themselves for whatever may come next. knowing that, in every heartbeat of time, the fate of humankind was just one choice away from chaos or hope.